I'm Diana Dominguez. I'm an associate professor of English here at UT Brownsville. I've been here since about 2004. I have my Ph.D. from Texas Tech in medieval Irish studies and women's studies, a master's from UT Pan American in general English studies, and then a Bachelor of Journalism from UT Austin. Okay, and I primarily teach literature. I have taught composition in the past, but now I'm pretty much focused on literature. I teach medieval literature because it is my expertise. I am especially happy to teach the sophomore introduction to literature course that we have because it allows me to bring in lots of variety of literature, and since literature is a passion that I hope that I can help my students appreciate and see from a much less boring perspective. I also teach literature by women, a variety of other literature courses at the junior and senior level for English majors, and then I've also taught graduate courses in medieval, in poetry, as well as theory and introduction to graduate studies. When I teach medieval literature, because of my background in medieval, I have learned how to read and pronounce and speak Old English. And so very often I give my students in class a chance to practice that and to at least hear what it sounds like. Father ura thu the ert on heavenum, si thin nama je halgod, to becometh in richa je wurtha thin willa on earthan, swa on heavenum. Urne je da wamlikan hlaf sile us today, and forgive us our guiltas, swa we forgiveth urem guiltendum, and ne jelad thu as kostnunge, ac alles as o evile, sothliche. And that's basically the Our Father prayer in Old English. Well, one of my favorite places on earth is Ireland. My favorite part of Ireland is the west of Ireland in the Sligo and Connemara region because it has still much of the old Gaelic flavor and is very, very much still a very traditional, the old Ireland the Dublin and surrounding areas there have really gotten a bit more advanced. So if you go into the west, you start to feel like you're really walking in the past, and so I've been on hiking trips through different parts of Ireland the last 3 times that I went. And I'm a born teacher. Everything that I do somehow ends up back in the classroom. Been writing all my life, and I would say probably about 10 years ago I really got into writing poetry much more seriously, and it's also a passion of mine. And I find that my scholarship activities, especially in women's studies, feed into my poetry activities, and so much of my poetry is based on giving voice to the voiceless, basically, or making the invisible visible. And I'm actually working on a collection of poetry that possibly will be published by the end of this year, if not by the beginning of next year. I am working on a book. One of the research areas that I have besides medieval is young adult literature, and specifically early 20th century series for teen girls, and between about 1880 and 1930 or so, which was considered the American Progressive era, it was an explosion of these teen series. And so I'm working on a book taking a look at a particular group of these series to show how they reflect and sometimes influence the changing dynamic of what it meant to be a girl in that period in the American Progressive. I think that because of my heritage, which is multilingual and multicultural, that I can connect with my students very well and relate to their possible situations to many of my students. I did not speak English at first. When I first started talking, I spoke French and Spanish because those were the languages in my house. I actually had to learn English in order to be able to go to school, and I think that that's something that my students can relate to, and that helps me to connect with them and understand maybe where they're coming from. Okay, so I'm extremely humbled and honored, obviously, to have been honored by the UT System Regents. I received the Regents Outstanding Teaching Award this year. Yes, so last week I had the privilege of being at the Regents Outstanding Teaching Award ceremony. It was really nice. There was a regent sitting at my table along with Dr. Garcia, which was very nice to have Dr. Garcia there to share in it. We were given the beautiful, beautiful award, a certificate and a beautiful medal, and greeted by the chancellor and other members of the regents. So it was very nice. It was very pleasant. I got to meet quite a few people, and it was very nice dinner conversation. And so it was a nice cap to receiving the award.